Sir Isaac Newton was born in 1643 and died in 1727. He was a physicist, astronomer, mathematician, and a philosopher. He is considered as one of the greatest figures in the history of science. He was born the year Galileo died. He was greatly influenced by Galileo's work. As a student at Cambridge University in 1661, he became interested in physics, mathematics, optics, and astronomy. A plague caused the university to shut down, so he spent 2 years at Woolsthorpe, where he began to think about gravity and spent time pondering on mathematics and optics. After returning to Cambridge, he developed ideas on the reflecting telescope and from the mid-1660s, conducted many experiments on the composition of light. He discovered that white light is made up of the same system of colors that are in the rainbow and established the behavior of lights. He published his findings in a book called Optics. Newton also made contributions in mathematics, especially in problems related to analytical geometry. He discovered general methods of resolving problems of curvature, as stated in his method of fluxions and inverse method of fluxions. Newton used the term fluxion, the Latin meaning of flow, because he thought of a quantity flowing from one magnitude to another. Newton is known for his theory on gravitation. According to a popular story, Newton discovered gravity when he saw an apple falling from a tree. It was this incident that made Newton realize that it was a similar force that governed the motion of the moon around the Earth. He calculated the force needed to hold the moon in its orbit, comparing this force with the force pulling an object to the ground. He wrote the Principia in 3 stages, where he described gravitation as the most important force controlling the motion of celestial bodies. His laws of motion and universal gravitation predicted very accurately the motion of stars and the planets around the Sun. Isaac Newton's life. Introduction. Newton, Sir Isaac, 1642 to 1727, mathematician and physicist, one of the foremost scientific intellects of all time. Born at Woolsthorpe, near Grantham in Lincolnshire, where he attended school, he entered Cambridge University in 1661. He was elected a Fellow of Trinity College in 1667 and Lucasian Professor of Mathematics in 1669. He remained at the university, lecturing in most years, until 1696. Of these Cambridge years, in which Newton was at the height of his creative power, he singled out 1665 to 1666, spent largely in Lincolnshire because of plague in Cambridge, as the prime of my age for invention. During 2 to 3 years of intense mental effort, he prepared Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy, commonly known as the Principia, although this was not published until 1687. As a firm opponent of the attempt by King James II to make the universities into Catholic institutions, Newton was elected Member of Parliament for the University of Cambridge to the Convention Parliament of 1689 and sat again in 1701 to 1702. Meanwhile, in 1696 he had moved to London as Warden of the Royal Mint. He became Master of the Mint in 1699, an office he retained to his death. He was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society of London in 1671, and in 1703 he became President, being annually re-elected for the rest of his life. His major work, Optics, appeared the next year. He was knighted in Cambridge in 1705. As Newtonian science became increasingly accepted on the continent, and especially after a general peace was restored in 1714. Following the War of the Spanish Succession, Newton became the most highly esteemed natural philosopher in Europe. His last decades were passed in revising his major works, polishing his studies of ancient history, and defending himself against critics, as well as carrying out his official duties. Newton was modest, diffident, and a man of simple tastes. He was angered by criticism or opposition and harbored resentment. He was harsh towards enemies but generous to friends. In government and at the Royal Society, he proved an able administrator. He never married and lived modestly, but was buried with great pomp in Westminster Abbey.